Welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets Tea and Tales Season 2, powered by Husby, served today by Lee Jenkinson of Husby. Now, Lee, you have made the, what's it called? The rite of passage, which is...
through the trenches.
Through the trenches.
Through the trenches.
Which most real estate agents will make, which is going from leasing to sales.
Yeah.
I've never really liked the idea of throwing newbies into leasing because I feel like it devalues that department, or it devalues that discipline, where in actual fact there's actually a lot more legal implications when it comes to leasing. There is a lot of skill required. It's the same sales techniques involved, and transacting on a sale is probably much simpler than transacting on a lease. But because the commission or what's at stake is so much more minimal when it comes to leasing, a lot of agents are thrown in on leasing. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake or if you know. That's why I never really liked that rite of passage, because my background was leasing, property management, and landlords, tenants, and I feel like they were never taken as seriously as they should be. Buyers and sellers were held in the highest regard, but actually what I plugged into was the fact that tenants and landlords are way more valuable than buyers and sellers. Buyers and sellers are just like this. But if you look after tenants and landlords, they will become buyers and sellers and repeat and repeat. So I want to know from you, for someone watching this that might still be in leasing or might be at the very beginning of their career, what does a transition look like from leasing to sales, and what should you be aware of when making that transition?
First of all, when you're making the transition, one thing that you've got to remember, and it's like all real estate, it does take time. When you're making the transition from rentals to sales, getting your it can happen in the first month. For me, it did take a lot longer, and
it took what, like 6 months?
6 to 7 months actually.
Okay, so you thought Billy Big Bollocks.
Perfect term.
Right.
Perfect term, actually, to be honest.
You came out of leasing and it's like, I have made it.
Yeah, I'm class. I'm amazing. While other people have 10 years in the industry. It can take time, and I would definitely say that your knowledge needs to be on point a lot more in sales, I think. Because...
Knowledge of what?
Knowledge of communities, the types, the size of buildings, the hospitals around it, like your community knowledge has to be one. Then when it comes to, of course, the mass behind it, because that's very, very important. But when it comes to, I personally think that rentals is so much more stressful than sales, massively so, and it's the aftermath of the rentals which has always causes the most issues.
So I moved in and it's filthy, it's this, it's that.
Exactly. You're like, I can't do anything. I can send a message, but my hands are like this. I actually can't do anything. I can send a message and see what happens. But when it comes to the transition, I would definitely say that, first of all, make sure that you've got enough money to do yourself until you make your sale. Yeah,
which could take 6-7 months.
When you're going into sales, look at every relationship with an owner that if he doesn't want to sell in 6 months, that's okay. Because if he wants to sell in 3 years, you need to make sure you're the person that he's going to think about first. Also, when you're going into sales, you're no longer going to be the biggest fish in the pond, because people in the older communities, you've got people who have worked in there for 10, 15 years who will, of course, have the reputation and the precedence over you. So I'll tell you a story of when I went from rentals into sales, and something that was quite close, coming back to relationships and all that. So there was an offer that came in, thought it was going to go through. Landlord had it accepted. Seller, sorry. Seller.
Still in your rental mindset.
Still in the rental, some say. But the seller had the offer accepted, but then someone that they had known for like 2-3 years prior came in with another offer.
Another agent had come in.
Another agent who had actually came in that was actually lower than mine, but because of the relationship they had built and crafted over years, that took precedence over mine. Right. Because I only had been talking to them for a month. Which is understandable.
So you lost out to a lower offer with another agent just because
Not a
they had
huge amount. You're talking
Oh,
a
right.
couple of tenders.
Oh, right,
Like,
okay,
not
fine.
tens, but maybe
a few.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because of the relationship that they had nurtured.
that they had nurtured. But if that was happening now, that I've got, say, a year's relationships with my owners, which I do now, and I've exceptionally strong relationships with them, then I know now that wouldn't be the
Wouldn't
case
happen.
now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing when you are going into sales, especially when you're dealing with investors, is stuff like ROI, percentages of capital appreciation, the sales a year ago to what they're doing now. Because when it comes to property, it all comes down to numbers.
Right.
Every single, unless someone sees their dream home, and that's what it's all about, but usually it comes down to numbers. So I would definitely spend some time understanding how the numbers in property works, because in leasing it's just
This
a
is the
number.
rent. Yeah.
This is the rent. It's
yeah.
$450. Whereas if you're selling to an investor, it's more like, okay, well, you bet at this point, then you've got your ROI, which is maybe 8%. Your capital appreciation could be 6%. So 5 years. If you get an exit strategy, then you can actually, and then when you're talking that way, you're a source of knowledge and you're a source of value, as opposed to, hey, I'm Lee, I'm going to sell your house.
Brilliant.
Or I'm going to buy your house, you know.
Yeah. All right. Some great tips there. Thank you so much, Lee. And I wish you all the best of luck in
Thank you
your
very
JGE career.
Yeah, JG and the green community as well.
And the green community.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.